Yeah, they like that.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Lovely to have all of you here. Would be lovelier if I could see all of you. But let me go ahead with introducing Mallika Prasad. Mallika, thank you so much for doing this workshop. Mallika is an actor, voice coach, director, and founder of Vachika and Actors Ensemble India Forum. She's won multiple awards for various roles and in various capacities. And we're privileged to have her here with us today for this workshop on voice training. I personally am really looking forward to this. Malika, all yours.
Thank you, Priyanjana. Okay. Okay. So I always start my sessions inviting everybody to turn on their microphones and their cameras. It would be terrible to start a voice workshop and have most people on mute. So I invite you to turn it on. If there is disturbance, of course, we can always mute it from this end, but do keep it on and share some sound, share some breath in the room, and that will bring us right into voice work. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for being part of this workshop, and more importantly, part of the Footprint Film Festival. I feel like I know some of you already from the films you've made. I feel like I've been introduced to such a personal aspect of your life and the way you look at the world. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you. I would like to start with some questions actually, so that this doesn't become really a talky kind of a session. Voice work is really a full body action. Voice is a full body action. So the invitation is really to maybe if you could drop one word that describes this experience of being part of this festival, or what these last 2 days have been like. If you could just drop a single word in the chat box so that I have a sense of where you are right now. Communion. Overwhelming. Ananya. Hi, Ananya. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to ask you some more questions about that. I hope you're ready to share what it means to feel overwhelmed. Any more? Any more words there? I'll wait a couple of moments. Anything that comes to your mind. Hectic. I feel you. Okay. Hurried. All right. Thank you. Any more words? Selva, Amitabh, Jagannath. Okay. All right. So here's what I have for you. Um, voice, of course, is a wide open field, and there's a lot to explore as far as voice is concerned. The human voice is an instrument, and one wants to sort of find a way of introducing the instrument to you first. This 1 hour will be. I hope we can do this. I'm being ambitious here, but I would love to take questions from you, specific questions about your voice, about what you may have faced when you try to perform or when you're trying to make your work. So questions will always help focus this 1 hour in a way that it's meaningful and useful for you. But by and large, I have three ideas to okay, as far as the voice is concerned, just three ideas. To begin with, I just want to let you know that we'll do a little bit of practice and we'll do a little bit of talking. And in the middle, if you feel that there is a question rising up for you, or if you feel that there's a response that you want to have, then just drop it into the chat box. Okay? Or if you feel you can turn on the mic and just talk to us, then that's good too. Okay? Sounds fair? Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to start with a little bit of practice before we start talking, okay? So if I could invite you all to place your palm over your chest. Just place your palm over your chest. If you need the other hand, then press the other hand over that till you can feel the beat of your heart against your palm. Take a moment to do that. Thoughtful. Thank you, Pankaj. Just pressing that hand over the heart. Nothing to change, nothing to shift. We're just observing what the palm is reading off of your body. Okay? Just take a moment to feel that. And ever so gently, if you could release your jaw away from your upper skull till your lips are slightly parted, just a little bit. And if you could release a little breath as you breathe out, just let it fly out. Just release it. Almost as if birds are being released from a cage. Just release a little sigh. And if you release a little sound on that breath, like a sigh, like a sound. That's the one. Very good. If you could just release that very gently. You could try that a couple more times. Just to breathe in, check in with that heart. It certainly is beating. You can feel that beat against your palm, and if you can open the mouth just a little bit and release that chest downwards into a little sigh. And while you're doing that, if you could gently open your eyes, you don't have to look at the screen. You could turn around and look at your room, look at the space that you're in, and just allow your eyes to float about while sighing, while releasing little breaths. Just let your eyes float as if it has no purpose whatsoever. It's just floating, landing on something that attracts your eyes, maybe a color, maybe a texture, maybe a shape, maybe an object. Just let it float, wander about a little bit with your lips parted and you sighing out gently, ever so gently. मैडम आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है अभी आ रही है अभी ठीक है कोई दे दो या कुछ कर दो ताकि मुझे पता चल जाए कि मेरी आवाज आ रही है आप तक nice okay thank you very much okay so we can let that go and take a moment to acknowledge if anything has shifted from the time we started to now if anything at all has shifted and if nothing has that's okay too feeling calmer lovely okay there you go okay thank you very much for that Priyanka. Not hurried okay yeah wonderful thank you so much for sharing those so then voice I mean I always start with this you know question for myself this curiosity that what could I possibly teach becoming aware of aches and knots who is this Tess oh yes of course Tess thank you very much for sharing that too okay. So when I start I always wonder what is it that I can possibly offer you as learning about voice something that you've held in your body and you've used from the very first moment you announced your arrival in the world when you were born, there's this blood curdling yell you let out, no? To let everybody know that you have arrived in this material world. So you have that voice and you've been using it to communicate your need, your ideas, your whatever is in your imagination. You've been doing that all your life. So what possibly could be there that I could offer you in this 1 hour that might be useful going forward? Okay. So I usually say that everything that I teach you about voice work, you already know. Your body already knows it. Okay. So all I'm going to do is draw your attention back to what your body does when it wants to communicate, when it wants to sing, when it wants to speak. Okay. So, as I said, I'm dividing this session into 3 sections that sort of touch upon 3 basic ideas of voice. Right? Those 3 ideas are the first idea that I'm going to touch upon is ease. That very simple, straightforward thing, ease. Okay? It's most essential for voice. It's most essential for you to connect with what you're feeling, what you're thinking, your intuitive self, and also to be able to communicate that with a degree of calmness or a degree um, or being able to speak, um, especially when you're feeling nervous. Okay, so we'll touch upon ease. And the second thing that I'm going to talk to you about is called structure. Okay? And the third is a thing called support. All right? So, okay? Good to go? Slowed me down. Nice. Thank you, Vidisha. All right. So, when we talk about ease, we have this thing called life around us all the time, right? Which is rushing us all the time, pushing us towards doing things, performing, overwhelming us with, the urgency of response. All sorts of things are happening to us all the time, right? So how does one find ease in that? How do you find a place of calm? How do you find a place of physical ease? And keep that idea somewhere, hooked in the room today. That voice is a full body action. So whatever happens to your whole body is affecting your breathing and therefore your voice. Because your voice is nothing more than just sounding breath. Yes? Okay. So we'll start with a little bit of practice and we'll go into some talk and some conversation and some questions at that point. Okay. So if you're sitting, that's fine. But if you feel like it, I invite you to stand. Okay. So you can stand just right in front of the screen. Just not much to do. Just stand. All right. And if you feel like doing it sitting down, that's also okay. You're going to be waving your hands about a lot, so just make sure you don't knock a teacup away. So just keep that in mind, and otherwise you're fine. All right? Okay, so we try and see what it means to change this breathing, because after all, voice is breath. So we'll try and see what happens to that. Okay, so if you're standing, what I'm going to invite you to do is just draw your hands in front of you like that and take a nice sharp breath in. Okay, just take a nice sharp breath in and push your hands out by just saying ha. Okay, simple, straight. Pulling your hands towards yourself in a nice sharp intake of breath and ha. Okay, guys. Ha, 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 ha. Wonderful. We'll go to the sides and about 3 to 4 times. So drawing the breath in from the sides. Ha, 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 ha. Yes. And then now from above you into the sky, just send your hands right above your heads. Send your hands up. Take a deep breath. And the last one is the floor. last one to the floor. Just dropping your hands down all the way to the ground and pulling that breath from the floor. Wonderful. And over here, I want you to gently drop your head down. If you're sitting on the chair, you can do it too. You can do that sitting as well. Just drop the head and neck all the way down to the floor, to your feet, all the way to the feet. And very slowly, one vertebra at a time. Oh, I'm so sorry. One vertebra at a time. Simply stack the spine one on top of the other, one vertebra at a time, and come up to standing, placing the head and neck on top, right in the end. Really slowly. Slowly. And breathe into that. As you rise up, breathe into that. And in the very end, just roll your shoulders back and rock your hands till you feel that energy dripping off your fingertips. Okay, stay there for a moment. Stay there for a moment. And just notice what has happened in your body in these last 2 minutes. Just notice what has happened. You could have sensations. Your breathing could have shifted. You can also place your hand over your chest and notice what's happening with your heart. You can gently breathe into that if you like. And in this moment, if you could drop a word that probably describes what's going on in the body in this moment. That's it, nothing else, just a word. Just noticing what's going on and drop a word. Thank you. Anything at all. It could be something on your skin, it could be something on your legs, your body, your head, your face, anywhere. If you feel something, just drop a word to describe it. Ah, thank you, Shweta. Feeling of being alive. Yes. Anything else at all? Okay. All right. So, it's a very quick reference to what we did. Um, it's sort of like it's a kind of an energy created, right? Just an energy ball. So you feel a shift in the energy of your body. You feel a shift in the breathing, right? So if you could just say something in this moment, just anything at all, just a word, a line, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and notice what that has done to your voice by just shifting the energy around in your body. Okay, you can try that in your own time. All right. So, one more little bit of practice. So if you could bring your hands to give yourself a nice tight hug. Just a good tight hug. Just give everything a good squeeze. And see if you can breathe into that squeeze. Just tuck your face in. Squeeze everything in your face, your tongue, your mouth, everything. Just give it a good squeeze. and breathe into that. And you can let it all go in a big old ha, aha, if you like, as Shweta has put there in the text box. A nice old big aha. And give yourself a good stretch, like a morning stretch that you would do. Just give yourself a good old stretch. Oh, yeah, there you go. Good old stretch. And you can turn that stretch into a good shake. Shake it off. Okay. So there you go. So there is something to learn from our pets, our dogs and cats that live with us. They tend to do this about 25 to 30 times a day. Because believe it or not, life happens to them too. And they are collecting these different impulses, these different stimuli that keep coming towards us in our body, in our musculature. Okay? And one of the best ways to release that musculature is to simply do these three things, is to scrunch, stretch, and shake the body out. It's what you would see if you have a cat or a dog in your house, you'll see them do that all the time. And you'll notice that there is a fluidity, a kind of softness, a release in the body, right? Okay, so this is one of the key things that we need to remember about voice, is that an easy body allows for easy breathing. And your breath is connected to your imagination, it's connected to your speaking, it's connected to thoughts, and certainly connected to your voice. And as you practice this sense of releasing the body away from tightness to a place of ease in the body, you'll find that your voice changes, your breathing shifts, and that is one of the most vital things about voice. Does that make sense? Yeah? Great. Any thoughts, any questions that have come up from this? Anybody? It's okay if you're feeling tired. Even that could be something you could type into the chat box. I'm feeling tired or I'm feeling hot. At the moment, actually, I'm feeling a little hot because this tends to raise the temperature of the body and there can be some sweat there. Okay? I am processing. Okay, there'll be lots of time for processing. For the moment, just respond. Just put as many words out as possible. Okay? Because there is no right way of doing this, there's no wrong way of doing this. There's just a practice. Hmm? So allow yourself to just drop words there. We'll make sense of it as we go along. All right? And feel free to drop big questions that we can take at the end of the session as well. Okay? Feeling very warm. Nice. So that's a good cue. So should you think about your voice when you are watching a gog? Okay. Um, so should you go into a situation where you have to speak to people or you have a performance, one of the best ways to get into it is to have a warm body. So to do anything at all that activates the breath, activates the body till you have a slight sheen of sweat on you, slight, small warmth in your body, and that affects your voice as well, it affects your breathing. Okay, so that's also a very healthy way of using your voice. Cool.
Mallika, I have a question.
Go for it, my dear. I mean, this
What do
is
you
going to be useful to anyone if we don't have lots of questions. So go for it.
what do you mean by active breath when you just said?
Yes, I said activate the breath, which is very similar to what you're saying. So an active breath. So you see, um, when we breathe normally, is for the purpose of living, right? The breath simply rises and falls. It just goes up and down like that, as if it was the waves on a sea or an ocean. In fact, that's why it's called tidal breathing. It's what you do when you're asleep. Okay. But here's the thing. When we want to speak, or when we want to communicate, or when we want to sing, our entire body does a whole set of other things. It breathes differently. Okay, it breathes completely differently simply because you have this desire to communicate with somebody else. Okay, now here's something. I'm going to give you like a big large overview of what happens when you have this desire to communicate, desire to speak. All right, so imagine that when you're doing your daily business of living, you're simply breathing up and down. Your body is just going up and down like that, right? It's just going back and forth, and that's it. When you have a thought that wants to be communicated, your body breathes sideways, almost as if you had a surprise breath in your lungs, in your. So I will bend the thing screen so that you can see where my hand is. You breathe into the side of your body, where your rib cage is. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to place your hand right where your rib cage is. Okay, and I want you to breathe in as if you saw a friend across the street after 10 years. Okay, so you do. You feel that? You feel your whole body expand sideways like that? You see? So it's no coincidence that in English, that breathing is called inspiration. It's as if you're struck by something, a thought, a moment when you want to communicate. Your whole body breathes sideways like that. Okay? It breathes into the rib cage. Now there, you have a moment. Do I want to communicate this thought? What if I've had a really naughty thought and I don't want to say it out loud? Okay, so you have that moment, right? Between having the thought and the desire to actually let it out of you, right? So there is that moment. Now, if you were breathing normally, you just breathe out. You breathe in, and you breathe out. But when you want to speak, you engage specific parts of your body so that your exhalation is in control, is in your control. So that you're not just saying one word, two words, a phrase, a whole sentence, two thoughts, three thoughts, running into each other, till you have got to the point where you've communicated what you want to say. You see what I mean? So you've extended that out breath. You've elongated that out breath to fit, or rather to hold that entire expression, that entire thought. You see? Does that make sense? Yeah? So when we speak, a whole lot of things happening in the body, right? It's extremely complex and beautiful. But at the end of the day, we are an instrument. It's a musical instrument. And like any other musical instrument, by itself, it's mute. Ever seen a drum play by itself? It'd be a little scary if it did. You can make a film about that. But or a harmonium, or any instrument at all that jumps up and starts playing itself. Likewise, our musical instrument is also mute up until we have a desire to speak, unless we intend to play it. Okay? So activating the breath is literally bringing yourself to a place of readiness. Is bringing yourself to a place of readiness. Yeah? And anyone in any business of creative work will tell you that moving the body, moving the breath, also moves your state of mind. It brings you to a fresh place. It changes your perspective, right? It brings you to a creative place, right? Okay? Of course, there are all those other lovely benefits that you're oxygenating your entire body when you breathe into this side body. You see, this is also the most flexible part of your rib cage, the lower part of your body, the lower part of the rib cage. That's where the ribs are not fused, right? So that's where they have most mobility. And when you breathe either into the back or into the side body, you also allow for a lot more air to be in your body. Yeah? In this moment of COVID and all our respiratory, illnesses that are attacking us from all sides, this is one of the most healthiest things you can do, is breathe into the side body. Okay? Sounds okay? All right. Okay, so Shweta, you've given me a good cue to carry on in this direction, all right? Thank you for that. If there's anybody else who's got, my heart rate always rises when I want to speak to someone. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Pankaj. Thank you for dropping that in the chat box. We'll address that, okay? We'll address that. It's lovely. So, if that's what we do to breathe in, yeah, when we have a thought and we want to communicate, what is it that we do to speak or to sing? You see, exhalation is in our control. That's why you have pearl divers. Have you ever seen any videos of pearl divers? They go into the sea on a single breath and then they're gone for like, I don't know, minutes on end, right? Mostly because breathing in is not always in our control. You know, it's an autonomic activity. Does that make sense? Autonomic activity, something that's not in our control. Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Ananya. But exhalation is a voluntary thing. Okay, you can extend your out breath for as long as you like. And we have singers in the room. Ask them how many times they sing a note and a raga or a thing that they do on a single breath, how long they can hold it. So that is really in your control, and that you can cultivate. You can grow it and grow it and grow it with practice. Okay. So here's a little bit of practice. Ready? Ready to try what happens to the breath as we exhale and when we want to speak or sing? Okay. So just stand. You can do sitting. If you feel like doing this sitting, you can do the sitting as well. So just place a hand over your belly button. I hope you can see me. So just place a hand over your belly button. Yeah. And for the moment, just please feel free to move around, feel your feet on the floor, really connect with the floor, all right? Feel all your toes on the floor, the heel on the floor, the blade of the feet, and literally like move your weight around the periphery of your feet. Just let yourself feel the ground, okay? And as you place that hand over the belly button, just notice what happens when you're breathing normally. Just breathe. Nothing to change, nothing to shift. Just hold that hand on the belly button and breathe. And notice what is that information that the skin on your belly button through your clothes is giving to your palm. There's a conversation going on there. There's a dialogue. So just notice what that dialogue is. Is it something of movement? Is it something of energy? Is it something maybe temperature? Something that you can, okay? Okay. And now I'm going to invite you to shush me. Okay? We're going to say shh. All the way to the end of your breath though. Go for it. And try that a few times. Go all the way to the end of the breath. Okay. Notice anything there? Just whatever you notice. Don't think about it. Just whatever you notice, just put it there. Anything happening around your belly button? I see Bidisha's got like a very naughty smile on her face. Anybody? If you didn't feel anything, you can go for it once more. It's and you can try a slightly different sound. You can go with a hiss. Try that again. Hiss. Belly going in, very nice. Yes, Shweta, it is going in, lovely. Do you feel a squeezing there, as if there's an engagement of a muscle there? Yeah? Okay, that is your best friend. That muscle is called the transverse abdominis. Okay, you can look it up whenever you have time. It's a muscle that's shaped like a corset. It's deep inside your body. It's deep inside your body, like breath ends. Yes, nice. When your breath ends, you feel that squeezing. Very good. That's exactly when you feel it. But as soon as you begin to make friends with that muscular movement, as you breathe, as you sing, as you speak, you'll find that your speaking is much more engaged in the body. Okay? It's much more truthful to the body. It's much more truthful to the moment. Right? So this engagement of that muscle gives a lot of support to the breath that is exhaling, because all language, most languages, except barring very few where you take a breath in or you click, otherwise all language, all speaking is on an out breath, right? So when that out breath as you speak or sing is supported by this particular muscular action, it's almost like this. It's almost like this. Okay? And it's deep in the body. Right? As soon as you feel that muscular engagement, you'll know that your voice is supported. Okay? It's supported. All right? Okay, so we'll piece those two things together. Any of you have a line that you remember from a performance, a poem, anything that you remember? There are two Ananyas here. Welcome both. Anybody who remembers a line. It doesn't have to be something too complicated. It could be a song, you talking to me. Selva, you have to tell me a little bit more what you mean. I don't understand entirely. So pick a line that you remember from a play or a role that you played. If you don't remember, if you haven't done anything like that, then a line from a poem or a song from a lullaby or a rhyme. If nothing comes to your mind, just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? It's a dialogue from, oh, okay, great. Wow. All right, please use that line. Use that line, Selva. It's a dialogue from Taxi Driver. Wonderful. All right. So here's what you're going to do. Okay? So stand up. Find something that you can look at, something specific that you can see. Could be right in front of me, I have a switch there with 2 switches on it. You could find a mirror, a painting, something specific to look at. Okay? So just find something to look at and stand before it. Okay? And here's what you're going to do. It may seem awkward in the beginning, but stick with me. Stay with it. Okay? So you're going to look at something specific in front of you, and you're going to breathe into that side body. Remember that surprise breath I told you about as you saw a friend across the street? So breathe into that side, and as you say your line, imagine that squeezing happening where your belly button is. So you're going to breathe in, and you're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and let it go where your breath ends, and then start again. Okay? Very simple, straightforward. Just breathing into the side body. And as you breathe out, allow that muscle to support whatever it is that you're saying, and let it go and land on that point that you're looking at. Just breathe and stay there with that. You can sing if you like. You can sing a few lines if you like that. It's okay if you lose the rhythm, if you lose the melody of it. It's all right. We're doing something mechanical. It's okay. Just try it a few times. I'll wait for you. It doesn't matter if you lose it. Keep going back to that breath and that support. Breathe into the side and that support. It's almost as if you're squeezing into a pair of jeans that are a little too tight. as you breathe out, as you speak. And remember to look at something specific in front of you and send your voice towards it. Rib stretches. Yes, it does. There's a lot of capacity there. Nice. Have a play with that and then come back and tell me how that feels. Just maybe just a word, a phrase, whatever you feel like. You can even turn on your mic and speak.
Uh, Malika, what I noticed is when I breathe in, my side and my belly, I mean, they are like releasing like this. And as I breathe out, they are going in like this.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. How does the voice feel?
feels very. So this was a poem that I was singing yesterday, and I was, yeah, it sounded good, but then today it felt very easy, very peaceful. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And remember that everybody's experience is unique, and every time you try this, something new will happen, and that is okay. But thank you for sharing this one.
So I was trying to sing a line, and typically, if I sing that line 3 times, I take 3 breaths, like 3 times I breathe in.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that when I became conscious of it, I could actually sing all 3 lines in the same breath.
Oh, wow!
Okay.
I mean, I had to be really conscious and I had to sort of focus on that. I don't know what it did to the singing, but
Yeah, yeah. I get you. I get you. Sometimes it's also, see, remember, this is the way we breathe to communicate anyway. All right? And the need to communicate supersedes the beauty of the line or the beauty of the sound. Okay? That overrides everything else. But the thing is, we tend to train ourselves and condition the body in such a way that we forget this very efficient way of breathing for singing and speaking. So when you return to it, it feels awkward because it's doing something to the sound that you know is right. you know, but with some practice, you'll come back to it and you'll find the sound that's not going to go away anywhere. It'll come back, but you'll find something far more valuable in the mechanics of this breathing. Thank you for sharing.
I feel like for me, it made my voice a bit more louder. Like when I say louder, in the sense that even before I go up on stage and I'm singing, there's always that, like 2 minutes voice training that you go through just before you go in, to get a bit more confidence on the thing that you're going to be performing before. And like this voice, it helps you train your voice into sounding better when you're on stage. So it reminded me a little bit of that because it calmed me down firstly a little bit because there was the breathing exercises that I'm also used to in my yoga classes, but then and then it just made me okay. So now it's grounded me a little more to what we're doing, and
Thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you. Yes, yeah, and allow yourself to stack upon what you already know. So, all the teachers you've had who've guided you towards voice work are really finding ways to support you so that you can use your best self and you can express yourself in the best possible way. So, allow yourself to stack upon that. If something sort of is a light bulb moment and that connects with something that you already know, allow it to connect and move you forward. To find something that brings ease to the body always, something that brings ease to the body, okay? Yeah. Okay, any other thoughts that came in there? Anything else that anybody wants to share in? Thank you for that, Ananya. Pankaj, you want to say something? I like the rib stretches. It's fantastic. We don't do
Ma'am,
that. Yeah, go for it.
ma'am, I always hesitate when it came to I need to talk to someone about something. I always hesitate, and my heartbeat also always rises. So I don't know how to deal with it.
First of all, Pankaj, if your heart rate goes up just before you're going to speak to someone, this is a very good thing. Okay? It's a very good thing. It means that your entire body is preparing you for that encounter, that moment of meeting somebody else. Okay? And your body is preparing to meet for it. It's a good sign. Okay? It shows that you care about this meeting. All right? So, in English, we have this wonderful phrase. We say we have butterflies in the stomach. You feel butterflies, right? That sense of like a little bit of unsteadiness, right? Okay.
Like we are hungry and something in stomach need to come out.
Yes, absolutely. That is exactly what it does. There's something in the stomach that wants to come out, right? So, this process of bringing yourself to the ground, to your body, helps you align that energy in a manner that it goes out in a focused way. Okay, you organize it in a better way. There was this wonderful teacher I remember listening to long back, and she talked about butterflies in the stomach, and I'll share that image with you. Okay, she said it's bringing the butterflies in formation. You understand? So all the butterflies are going all over the place. Oh, this, that. What are people thinking about me? I'm feeling nervous. My feet are feeling cold. So butterflies going in all sorts of directions, right? But as soon as you bring yourself, it takes a moment of courage. That's all. Everyone feels nervous. Everyone feels butterflies. Everyone's heart goes up. No matter how many years of practice you have, I promise you, I've been an actor for now almost most of my life. And I can tell you that every time I have to go up on stage, every time I have a performance, I have what's called this nervous moment. Okay? And this is a good thing. It means energy has come into your body. It just is a question of aligning those butterflies into a perfect formation and then letting them loose. Okay, so it is in fact a resource. It is something that you can tap into. Okay, and a very simple way to do that is simply to check in. Okay, it's not rocket sciencey at all. You just place your hand over your chest, you breathe, and you acknowledge what you're feeling. This is what I'm feeling right now. You don't have to declare it to the whole world. You don't have to do that. But just acknowledging, taking a moment to acknowledge this is what's going on with me. There's my feet and the ground, and that lovely ground under my feet. Okay? Breathe into the side body. Breathe out once. Jane do. Take a second and start again. And this time, start to speak on that second. And you're good to go. Okay? Make it your friend. This heart beating, feeling hesitation, these are all signs of the fact that you have energy in the body. It simply needs to be aligned. Okay? Make sense, Pankaj?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Hmm. I think we are coming towards the end of our class. And I just want to leave you with one little thing that probably will help you as you go forward. Hmm? Do we have the time for that, Priyanjana, Vidisha? Like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and we're done.
If you hadn't mentioned that we're coming to the end of the session, I wouldn't have realized it.
Oh, okay. So here goes. So very quickly, we'll get on our feet once again. So we've done two things today. We've talked about ease in the body and we've talked about support. Okay. Ease in the body is simply releasing everything to the ground, understanding what you're feeling and letting that go. The second is understanding what is the support for breathing. One is into the ribs and the other is your transverse muscle. Okay. Breathing in and breathing out. That's the support part. Now we'll go to the last one, which is structure. Okay. So bring yourself to standing and place your feet parallel to one another just below your hips. Find an easy position for your feet on the floor. Just gently flex your feet. Make sure that's not tight and locked, but slightly bouncy. Okay. And I want you to close your eyes for this one. Just close your eyes. Very gently close your eyes. I want you to imagine the bones of your feet. Just the bones of your feet. If you don't have an image, just create one. It doesn't matter. Use your imagination. Okay? And imagine the bones of your feet as they stand on the ground. Okay? And I'm going to walk you through this one now. I want you to imagine as if, as you breathe, keep that jaw slightly open, slightly lips parted, almost as if you have a really nice, juicy fruit inside your mouth. Just allow the mouth to be nice and soft. Oh, nice. Oh, what a lovely sound was that. Ha. Okay. And imagine that from your feet, the bones are growing upwards into your ankles, the shins, the knees. Spend a little time there as if you're just imagining the bones and everything around the bones is just melting away like butter or honey, just leaking off your body. Just the bones are growing up, upwards, into the knees, into those big bones that connect your knee to the hip. It's called the femur. And then upwards into your tailbone. You know, all of us have a little tail and we all have a little bit of a wag left in the tail as well. A little tailbone right at the base of your spine. And upwards from that grows your spine. You know? Imagine a triangular shaped bone that sits in the middle of your hips. And imagine little bones as if in a chain, you know, in the lower part of your spine. It's called the lumbar spine. It's got 5 bones there. And then higher up is your thoracic spine, where your rib cage grows from and grows forward and fuses in the middle. And place a hand over your chest once again, so you know where we are in the body. And breathe into that back, breathe into that spine, and find that whole thoracic spine. There are 12 bones there, stacked one on top of the other, in a loose chain-like formation. And then up into your neck, your cervical spine, your throat, your neck, where there are 7 little bones stacked one on top of the other. And right on top of that, balancing on your spine, is the head. So do a little chin tuck. Just tuck the chin in. Just not so low, Ananya. Just a little bit. Very good. Keep the chin parallel to the floor. And breathe. Open your mouth and breathe through that. You can roll your shoulders back and release your arms down to the floor again, to that wonderful gravity under you. And just notice what it feels like to stand in your bones. Just your bones. Just your bones. You're just a skeleton moving around. There's no form, no skin, no muscle, nothing. Just bones. And if you can imagine that there is a string that's holding the top of your head, and it is hooked to a beautiful bright star up in the sky. Okay? And your entire structure, your skeleton system is your structure, is simply dangling on it, simply floating on it. And breathe. Breathe and walk about and say a few lines, sing a few lines as you walk about in your bones. And then ever so gently, when you've had a little play with that, you can open your eyes now and look at the world, keeping your chin parallel to the floor. Open your mouth and say something. You can even just count. Just count with your mouth open and let it out. Okay. Yeah. And when you've had a little bit of a play with that, you can come back to the screen and we'll have a little chat. Okay. There you go. Those are the 3 big ideas about voice. And I offer you to try them with them, practice them, and tell me how you feel. Maybe you could drop a word, drop a thought. It's funny to imagine my own skull. Yeah. It is. There's also nothing that holds the skull then. You can let it go and breathe easy. You're refreshed. Thank you, Ananya. Thank you, my dear. How easy and relaxing. Yeah. Yeah. How does your voice sound? How does your voice feel rather than sound? How does it feel? Creepy little image is formed for me. Please share. Turn on your mic and share that creepy.
Talking about a skull that is hanging from a star, how is that not? No, nothing.
I don't know. How does it make
A
you feel?
skeleton is usually signifying death, and you're saying that there was no skin, no nothing, and then your bones are growing. Imagine that. I don't know. Sounds like one of the nightmares I would have.
But well, my dear, the skeleton is still inside you, encased in flesh and.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I would rather not see it.
Okay, all right. So that's good to know. So if that does not bring you ease, then you can ease yourself away from it as well. It's still your imagination, right? So it's useful to understand that your skeleton actually is your support, is your structure, is the thing that your body stands on, and it doesn't need muscles to hold it up, you know, and that if you let go, you'll find ease in breathing, you know. Yeah, so play with that. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? It's freeing and hilarious to feel the skeleton in me singing and sounding. How beautiful is that? Did you know? I have a moment to say, did you know? That the voice actually resonates in the bones of your body. And the more you're able to release the musculature around the bones, your sound, your voice sounds fuller. It's because it's resonating in your bones. It's if you imagine a musical instrument, the drum, the edges of the drum or the guitar, the hard part of that, if you place your hand on it, it actually vibrates. It's exactly like that. When we speak, when we sing, our bones vibrate and our bones resonate. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
Also, some people makes beats from their body, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How's that, do you think? Do you think there's some hollow places there? That
yeah,
cavities and sections that you can beat into and create different sounds. Wonderful, yes. That's one way of saying that the body has voice. It has a way of singing. I was feeling much lighter as the skeleton. Now I feel heavy again. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else has? Thank you for sharing that, Ananya. Bear in mind, all experiences are unique to you, and that everyone will have a different experience every time you engage with the body. Okay? It's a way of being present to it. So it feels heavy right now, that's okay. Yes, go for it, Tess.
Yeah. Thank you for freeing me from an image that was scary for me, that has been scary for me. There's this Tibetan or Buddhist death meditation that I can never go to the skeletal me, leave alone thinking about, when I've always been scared, but this has taken that fear off.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I feel the voice is easy now and backed up by something. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. And there we are. Thank you for your time, all of you. It was fun sharing a little bit about voice work with you.
Thank you so much, ma'am,
Thank you,
for
Pankaj.
giving us your precious time, guiding us how to do something with our body language and talk to our bones and skins too.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was a pleasure sharing that with you, Pankaj.
Okay, thank you so much, Mallika, for getting us breathing again. And I mean, don't stop breathing now. But thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That was a really eye-opening workshop, as I can tell from everybody here. I mean, everybody was engaged. Thank you so much.
Very
And it was lovely having you as jury member for Footprint Festival as well. We do look forward to you keeping your relationship with us alive. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Love being part of it. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. That was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.